How's everybody doing? Hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are doing well. This is King the Conqueror here, the High Evolutionary, the King of Hell, also known as Seth. So, man, um, I just I finally got around to watching. I've watched Dune, the first part and the second part. Um, my conclusion is it sucks. Okay. I don't like it. Uh, and the thing is, Dune is one of those things that is one of those movies that are actually better than the book. You know, the book is it. You know me. I don't like when writers put in fillers. In things like don't give me fillers. If you don't have anything to write, just don't write anything at all. Just don't write it. So the Dune book is actually not as good as the movie. I think the movie did the book way more justice than the book did to itself, right? So the movie is great. The first Dune movie, the one that came out in 1984 or some shit like that, right? So that movie was great. That movie was badass. That movie was awesome. There was a lot of things that they did in that movie that was great. There's a lot of controversy behind that movie too, and it you know the controversy makes it even better. It makes it even better because it gives it like a form of life on itself, right? So now we're watching um this new version of Dune. Mind you, I don't think the main actor did a bad job. I don't think the main actor did a bad job, to be honest. He was kind of too young for me. Um, it didn't because the old movie made sense. Like it wasn't like a kid. It was a man. It was a young man, right? It wasn't a teenager, right? And it made sense. It made it more believable. The whole time I'm watching Dune, I was scared for that kid's life. I thought he was gonna die the whole fucking time. I didn't enjoy it. Like, and there's a lot of important scenes that are not in there anymore. There's a lot of characters that are not in the movie anymore. There's a lot of things. Of course, there's some things that some of the fans would have liked. Like Duncan Idaho is immortal, right? And he's a fucking legit badass. Like Duncan Idaho's a fucking immortal. Like he's legit badass. So you know, that sucked. Gurney's a badass too. Gurney's a complete badass. Like he's just like the best fighter. You have to understand these guys are kind of like gods. They're kind of like a civilization of gods, right? Because the spice gives you powers, and they didn't allude to that in the movie. I feel like they flew by it very quickly. Like if you watch the old movie, there's a whole intro into what is the spice, which explains why they develop powers towards the end of the movie, right? Like the Harkonnen, the guy can fly by himself, right? Because he's fucking pumping spice into him. Like he has his own version of spice, and it makes him like have powers and shit, and like like crazy nonsense, right? And Safu. Yeah, they have Safu. They don't use spice. They don't use natural spice. They have Safu, which is basically a mixture of spice with some other technical mumbo jumbo that I'm not quite clear of. And I like it. I like their little. I like the little thing that they used to say when they gulp before drinking the safu, because they're basically drug addicts, right? They're addicted to the thing, right? But they're trying to maintain some kind of composure. Like they're trying to they're praying to the safu so that the safu doesn't consume them. Then they have to remind themselves that they are the one consuming the safu, and the safu is not consuming them. So they drink the safu. So anyway, that shit disappeared. Um, the boss of the Harkonnens is a total biatch, and he wasn't in the old movie. In this one, it's a complete bitch. Like he dies like a bitch, acts like a bitch, talks like a bitch. Like he's a bitch, right? Like he's a fucking bitch, a fucking pussy, right? Fucking Raban's a fucking pussy too. In the new movie, in the other movie, he wasn't really a pussy. It kind of They kind of alluded to him being very strong and very dangerous, which he kind of was. In the books, You understand why he's viewed the way he's viewed because he's actually pretty fucking strong. He drinks the Safu, so he has powers. He's very strong. He's the leader. He's the general of the whole entire army. So they skipped on that. Um, Fade, Fade is a great knife fighter. Is probably the best knife fighter in the universe. Basically, he's the best knife fighter in the universe. They didn't allude to that. There's a lot of things that they didn't talk about, and they didn't pan out. They had a chance to pan more of it out, but they didn't, right? And then spoilers, spoilers. If you haven't seen Dune, this is not a spoiler free. This is not spoiler free. I might spoil it. I don't want to spoil anything on purpose, but there's this famous battle, this famous duel that they have at the end of the movie, and they didn't do it like the other, me. Because the thing is, Dune is badass. The reason why I like Dune is because it talks about the power of the voice, right? The old movie, the old movie talks about vibrations and the power of the voice, right? This movie does not. It does nothing of that. It's just blabber jabber forever for hours on end with no real conviction or anything to show for it, because the movie ends like any other movie. It's like I would have the same reaction if I was watching a fucking Bruce Willis movie. Like I would have the same feeling after watching Die Hard. Like if you have to watch Dune over Die Hard, I would suggest to go watch Die Hard instead, because you're not gonna learn anything, but it's entertaining, right? It's entertaining. Die Hard is fun. The first Die Hard movies were fun movies. So, like Dune does not accomplish that. There's nothing fun. There's no fun. There's no amazement. There's no awe. There's nothing. It's just a empty carcass of a movie, and people are like, I don't know, like I've checked the reviews. I've checked 2 or 3 reviews. Apparently, people love it. I don't know why. There's nothing to love in there. Like they spent at least, like in the old movie, they spend a lot of time in the desert, but he's training in the desert. That the whole desert part was badass in the old movie because it was just training and training and training. So he discovers his powers. He's like mending two cultures together, which they do in this movie too, but it's not the same. It's very not the same. It's not even comparable how far of a cry it is from the old movie to this one, where he's learning the ways of his mother. He's learning the weirdly ways, because that's a thing. He's training Gurney. He's just training. This is just training. The whole fucking movie is just training, right? So, like, he's learning from Gurney, but that stops, but there's also the learning from the weirdly ways. He has to learn how to use that, and then he has to learn how to fight like a Freeman, like the guys in the desert. He has to fight like those guys. So he's mending a bunch of cultures together, and there's also a thing where he learns things naturally. Like it's like he's like a prophet, right? So he learns things. He doesn't know how he knows these things, but he knows these things. Like nobody shows him how to use a desert suit. He just puts on the desert suit. He already knows how to logically using his mind. He logically discovers how to the best way to put on his desert suit, and they're like super surprised by it, and those little nuances makes the character more believable, right? And in this movie, there's none of that that's going on. Like, it's just him talking and thinking, and that's it, and it sucks. It's garbage. Like, it's pure garbage. So, in the old movies, I like the nuances. Give me a second. My mouth is dry. In the old movies, I like the nuances uh, that they put in, which leads to him, which leads to him, which leads to him learning about himself and what his destiny is and who he is, and he also, and the weird thing is, the most important part in the first version of Dune to me was the fact that he taught the Freeman how to use uh, the voice. He taught everybody else how to use the voice as a weapon, and then they use that weapon because the Harkonnen are very strong. The Harkonnen, like, they're kind of there's a kind of a running gag where the Harkonnen are kind of like stormtroopers, but they're dangerous stormtroopers. They're terror squads, right? That's where terror squad comes from. Well, terror squad comes from, but anyways, the terror squad, right? So they're like, so they're actually kind of strong, right? They're the ones that's been, because the thing you have to understand is that the Harkonnen have been putting the Freemen kind of into slavery, kind of. There's kind of like a slavery thing going on. They've been terrorizing the planet for a long time, for a very long time, right? For decades, centuries, So they have a foothold there. So they're not that weak. They're not, because you watch the new movies, like, the Freemen are just kicking their asses like there's no fucking tomorrow, like they ain't shit, right? So there are some Freemen that can, because they specifically train to attack, but there's other Freemen that can't because they're just regular people, right? They're people that are forced to work in the mines, right? So, but there are some resistance cells, which is where the hero ends up in. He ends up in a resistance cell, right? So he teaches them how to use the voice, and these guys teach other guys how to use the voice, and now they have like a big army at the end, and there's the sandworms and everything. So, I feel like so that whole thing with the voice just completely disappeared, and I'm surprised. Like, we're talking about a bunch of people that will lose their shit. Well, like, people lost their shit for Wakanda Forever, right? Completely lost their minds, right? For a character that no one is very clear who he is until today, right? But now we're talking about an instant classic, Dune, the old Dune. Well, not an instant classic, but it's still a pop culture classic. And no one fucking cares about the fact that they just removed the best part of the movie in there. Like, that's just weird. People are weird. Anyway, the movie sucks. And there's like 1,000 reasons why the movie sucks. They could have made his sister in the book. His sister is actually stronger than him in the book. In the book, we're talking about gender, social justice, gender thingamajig, right? Like fucking toxic masculinity and shit. Well, guess what? In the book, his little sister, that little girl that was born, is actually stronger than him, and he's fucking strong. Like he's insane. Like he can break a mountain, like just by saying it. Like like he can destroy a bunch of shit. He could kill somebody with like he knows a lot of things. Right in the movie, it's not necessary for him to use those things per se, or they just didn't have time. But he knows a lot of things, right? So he can, but he does say like there's words. He explicitly says there are specific words that can do specific things, right? He says it. He doesn't use it, but he says it, like So he's like, there's words that can kill a man. There's words that can break mountains. Like that's how he trains the guy. He says like, I want you to like one of the guys like in the old movies, like I want you to use your voice to break. I want you to scream at this rock, right? And the guy's like, the guy knows that he's powerful, but at the same time, it's like he knows that he can't do that. Like he's never done that before. He'd never seen that before. It's like, well, how did you? So he's kind of like he's like jokingly saying, okay, I'll try, and everybody else starts laughing because they understand, like, well, I know he's not crazy, but at the same time, I've never seen somebody break a rock using his fucking voice. So he goes and try, he can't fucking break it, right? And then he shows him, and then he's like, okay, step back. And then he says a word, and then bow, the rock breaks. That was fucking epic. That was fucking awesome. None of that shit is in the fucking movie. What? How can you tell me that this movie is good? How can you sit there, bunch of fucking reviews saying that this movie is great? No, it's not. It sucks. It's garbage. It's trash. It's no. Like just no, bro. Like none of that shit's in there. None of it. Even the end battle scene, that shit is still not. I watched the entire Dune Part 2 just to see what he's gonna do at the end of the movie. Because at the end, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, he's learning shit. Like he's learning a little bit. Like he has a little bit of his mother's talents, right? So I'm like, okay, there's a little bit. He uses a little bit of the voice, because that's a Bene Gesserit thing. Like the Bene Gesserit control people using their voice, right? They can like hypnotize people into doing things, right? So I'm like, okay, well, he's that's gonna happen. That's gonna. And by the way, the old Shanice was a trillion times harder than like who they chose to be Shanice, and maybe it's not that the whole Shanice showing how fucking banging her body was is unnecessary, but it kind of leaves a dent it kind of sears into your fucking mind, right? Like, because the old Shinies was fucking 12 out of 10, you know what I mean? Like, she was 25 out of 10, my nigga. Like, she was 2 dimes in one, you know what I mean? And a nickel, you know what I mean? So, so that shit to me just, okay, well, I was ready to accept that. I was ready to accept this new Shanice, whatever. I accepted that. I kept watching, man. In my head, I'm like, man, he's gonna do something badass. He's gonna do something badass. It's gonna be the end of the movie. At the end of the movie, he's gonna do something bad, because I'm already watching the whole fucking movie happens in the fucking desert, right? So in the old movie, it doesn't happen all in the desert. It happens in multiple areas. So there's like the Harkonnens area, so you see their point of view, and then you see the Sarikard, the Sarikard, I think the House of Sarikard or some shit like that. So you see their point of view and how they, how they're dealing with all this, and the mentioning of this chosen one, right? Because there's this chosen one, so the news is going around that there's this chosen one that's causing damage to the Harkonnens, and the Sarkonnens are talking about it with other space civilizations, space communities, and the da. So I'm watching. I'm like, okay, well, this is good. This is all happening in the desert. There has to be a point to this, man. I'm watching, man. I'm in it, man. So And I'm guessing there's gonna be a third movie. I'm guessing there's gonna be a third movie here. But and the third movie is going to piss me off because I don't know. Like you can't like you already um they already how do you say that in gaming terms? They already nerfed Muad'Dib. They power level they under power leveled Muad'Dib, so that shit's trash. And like, and then I'm guessing the third movie they're gonna do their whole, well, I hope they do their whole fucking women or stronger than men thing kind of thing that they got going on in Hollywood, because actually it would kind of make sense. It would respect the old version, which, because the sister was strong, she was doing shit in her mom's belly, just like in this one too. In this one, that she could technically, she was communicating with her mom as a baby in her tummy. So that didn't happen in the old movie, but she was, you could see that she, anyway. So um I don't know. So I'm guessing the third movie, it's going to be about his sister more than him, I guess. And like, cause she's supposed to be incredibly powerful. Like she's supposed to be more powerful than Muad'Dib, right? Like, cause she drunk the same thing that he drank, and now he has, her mind is unlocked too as a baby. So whatever. So so I don't know. I guess they're gonna do a third movie. There's gonna be a third Dune, and the third Dune is gonna be where they're gonna talk about the voice or some shit. Like, well, I probably not too. Probably it's gonna be straight garbage too. Probably the third movie is gonna be trash. I wouldn't be surprised if the third movie is trash. The first movie was garbage. The second movie is trash, and the third movie, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be garbage. I mean, it could be a setup too. I could be wrong. It could be a setup to make this woman over fucking powered and just fucking tear shit up. Which was Muad'Dib was supposed to do in this fucking movie, kind of, because even in the old version, it alludes to him trying to make peace with all of the civilization. So he's going to war, but he's not trying to rule over everything, right? So there's still space for backstabbing and fucking conniving people and stuff like that, which he's not afraid of that. He's just trying to make peace. He's just trying to, see if there's a way that everybody can live harmoniously and shit like that. So that leaves space for his little sister to just tear everybody apart, which she can. Let's see if she's going to do that. We don't know, right? But that's if there's a third movie, because that could be the end. I feel like there's a third movie because there's so much things that they removed from the movie. I feel like they might they might do it in the third movie. I guess and I was super duper depressed when I saw the end of the movie, because I was waiting for him to do the thing that he did back in 1984 to see, because now we have to think, like, if you watch the old version of 1984, that shit was badass. Like, because most people don't understand the thing that you have to understand. Like, the guy that plays Muad'Dib in the old movie, that dude loves anime, right? I'm not trying to send no flowers. I know I'm not trying to send no flowers, but you can see that this dude has a very big love for anime movie, like for mangas, right? Because every movie he plays looks like a manga. This actor is the kind of guy, like, if the movie doesn't look like a manga, he's gonna lose his shit, right? Like, he's gonna fucking lose his fucking mind, right? So he likes playing movies that looks like mangas, and there's a very Japanese feel to what he does. And the old movie has that same kind of feel too, and he kind of has that face. And if you pay attention, he kind of tries to do that shit with the eyebrow, with the pointy eyebrow. He kind of tries to do that, and it's amazing. I fucking love it, right? So a lot of the special effects kind of look cartoonish, right? They kind of look not cartoonish in a bad way, not in the cartoonish like it's over the top and shit like that, but it looks anime kind of like type of shit. Like the scenes are very anime type, right? If you can make the difference. Not everybody can make the difference, and some people don't give a fuck what they fucking looking at. So what I just said might fly 3,000 feet over your fucking head. But if you're that kind of person that do pay attention to cinematography and how things are made, then you'll realize that a lot of scenes are kind of inspired by anime things, like, you know. And he plays a lot of that dude plays a lot of movies, a lot of science fiction movies, and he always try to put a dose of anime in the movies that he makes, right? He's a lovely guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's a fun guy, right? So anyway, flash forward, I was expecting with the technology that we have, that he did the shit that he did with the technology they had back in 1984, and it still looks badass today. Like, it's the most badass shit I ever seen in my fucking life. There's not a lot of movies that can do shit like he did back in those days, right? Because that was very epic. The way that the fight scene ended was fucking epic. You can look it up on YouTube if you want to fucking spoil it. If you want to spoil it, I don't care. Just look at that scene and then look at what the trash they fucking gave us in Dune 2. He almost fucking dies. I mean, like, all kinds of shit, bro. He was getting his ass whooped. First of all, like, he got stabbed in the fucking gut, and then the knife ends up on his fucking shoulder. What the fuck? What the fuck? Like, what the fuck? like, you got stabbed in the stomach. Why is the knife in your shoulder now? Like, what the fuck? What? Like, what? Like, anyways, I don't even know what happened. To be quite honest, I don't know how Faye died. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. So it was trash. So, anyways, yeah, he gets stabbed in the gut, and then the next scene, like, he kills him by turning the knife towards him, but the knife is not in his gut anymore. It's in his fucking shoulder. Dude, come on. I mean, like, people are that stupid. Yes, people are that stupid. Yes, in fact, yes, they are. Yes, they are. So, anyways, like, how, like, I don't understand how, but I still don't get how people accept the fact, like, because it's very, and you can't miss it. You can't pay $12 fucking dollars, watch the movie until the end, see the guy clearly with a knife in his gut. I mean, it's not like, you know, when sometimes a director does a mistake and he tries to clean it. I can't even say that's what happened, because you see him, like, he gets stabbed in the gut, and then he walks away from Fade at least 4 or 5 steps. So you clearly see the knife is still in his gut. And then when Fade comes to fucking end him, he finds a way to turn the knife and kill him, but now the knife is in his fucking shoulder. What? I mean, like, what? And, oh, this movie's good. What? What? How did you didn't see what I just saw? Like, you telling me you didn't just see what the fuck I saw, bro? Because any fucking ways. So he almost dies like a bitch. Fade dies like a bitch, and he dies like a bitch. The reason why I say Fade dies like a bitch is not that that's a problem that he dies like a bitch, is because he didn't die the same way he died in the 1984 version. The 1984 version was way worse. The way he died was way worse. Like, he fucking sucked the soul out of this motherfucker. You know what I mean? This nigga died twice. You know what I mean? Like, he went ham. You know, and even at the end, it's like one of the soldiers are like, more deep, like, you know, because he fucking like, like, you know. So, anyways, that movie, it was trash. It was trash, and anybody that says the contrary is fucking crazy. Like, and people are fucking crazy, and so yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna say that Dune 2. Dune, the new version of Dune was great. and they're fucking insane, and they lost their whole entire minds, and they probably should be on medication, and they should probably be on medication, bro, and probably have some electromagnetic convulsion therapy, man, because there's no motherfucking way you're gonna fucking tell me that that movie was better than the original. The original was better, way better, and it's sad because it's not that I feel Dune is like that version. I feel, even though I like the first version, I feel like there's a lot of things they could have done better. So, and it's sad that now we have the technology to do it better, and it's worse than the first version. It's not better. Like, we have the money, we have the technology, we can do it better. We have the people, we have the imagination, and instead of doing better, we did way worse. That just doesn't add up to me. It's confusing. That shit's confusing to me. Anyway, so that's all I have to say about Dune 2. Dune period. Um. So yeah, have a good one. Peace out.